Alright, we're back. So once you've installed Alice 3 on your computer, you should see an icon on your desktop. Alice Player you don't necessarily have to install. It's going to come in as a zip file, and just feel free to extract it. But we're not going to use it right now anyway, so just hold on for that one. What you're going to do is double click Alice 3 and it's going to open. If it's your first time, it's going to take a little while, and it may have a little agreement or something that you have to acknowledge. Feel free to just acknowledge it, and then you're going to go to this page here. It has different worlds here. You got grass and seafloor, moon, and feel free to choose whichever one you would like. I'm going to choose the grass one, but I did want to show you some of the other tabs, because once you save your program will probably be under my projects or recent projects, or file system. You'll have to browse through and find your own program. And then there are some starter areas here which are really cool, some really cool sceneries that you can start with if you want to start in a elaborate world that's already been created. But we're going to start with the blank ones here, and I'm going to start with the grass scene and click OK. Alright, so now here is your workspace. Up at the top left, you're going to see your scene. This is what is going to be in your virtual world. So right now you already have your land, which is mine is grass, and we're going to add things like people and buildings and things like that. Under that is your procedures and functions, which control how those objects will be moving and interacting in that space. Okay, so you have things like turn and move and things like that. The area on the right is where you're going to be actually doing your programming. So what you're going to do is whatever procedure you have, you're going to click it and drag it into the right section. You'll notice that it gives you a little preview of where it should go, and then you drop it. Now this particular procedure has some extra things that you need to select, so I'm gonna just choose something randomly. It doesn't matter. And then it'll basically do whatever is in this my first method section. You press run, it'll do anything that is in that my first method section. Now we haven't really done anything yet, so I'm going to take this out. I'm going to click and hold this, and then I'm going to pull it to the left, and you see this little trash can. It deletes it from the program. So before we do any programming, let's bring some things into the scene. So if you see down here, there's a setup scene. We're going to click that button. Alright, so we're going to set up the scene by adding things into the scene to start off with telling a little story. So at the bottom you'll see different things. You'll see a biped class, which is basically a humanoid creature, flying class, which are birds, prop class, which are buildings and trees and things like that, quadruped, or like dogs and horses, slither class, which is probably snakes and things like that, and then swim class, which is fish, and then transport class, I believe those are cars and planes and things like that. So you can bring any of those things into your world. So for my particular project, we're going to use the biped class. I'm going to double click that, and you'll notice that there are different things. You have elderly person, you have adult. I'm just double clicking these. You got teenager, and you got aliens and bats and things like that as well. So for this particular one, we are going to bring in the alien. Sure, why not, right? We're going to bring an alien in. Alright, once you bring the alien in, it gives you an opportunity to give it a name. I'm going to call it Bob. Bob the alien. Alright, and I'm going to click OK. So now the alien is in our scene. You can move the alien around by clicking on the alien and holding the mouse button, holding the left mouse button, and moving left and right, back and forth. You can place it wherever you want it. And then we're going to bring in another actor. I think we're going to bring in a child this time. Now, if you bring in a child, you'll notice that you have a couple more options on things like hair and gender and skin color and clothes and things like that. So I'm going to bring in this character, female character. Let's see, we can change her hair, give her some cool hair there. And We're going to click OK. And at this point, we're going to give her a name. We're going to call her Angel, because that's an awesome name and she's an awesome person. So I'm going to call her Angel. So this story is going to be about Angel and the alien. Alright. So just so that it's a little bit interesting, we're going to put in a building as well. If you want to go back to the previous menu, you just click the all class, right? And you click prop class now. Double click that. There you go. Oop, double clicked it a little bit too much. I don't know what that is, so I'm just going to cancel that. And we're going to bring in a temple. Sure. These are cool little temples here. Let's see if I see anything that's really cool. I like this one right here. I'm going to drag this into the scene. And it gives you an option to give it a name. I'm going to just keep the name that it has. Alright, so they are in front of a temple. Now I'm using my scroll wheel. If you move the scroll wheel forward and back, you can zoom in and zoom out. Alright, so that gives you an opportunity to navigate in the area. But this is going to be my scene here. Alien and Angel at the temple. Sure, why not? Alright, you can do whatever you want in your story. Alright, so once you have your scene set up with your building and your people and things like that, you're going to click the edit code button. That takes you back to your programming area, and then now you're able to control the different things in the scene. Alright, so you'll notice just under the scene window, there's a little drop down that says, right now mine says this Bob. But it has basically everything that is in your scene. So this is kind of the world that you created. This ground is that grass, and so mine was grass because that was the land that I chose. The camera, you can actually control the camera as well. So the camera is, think of yourself as a director, and what you're seeing is basically through the camera lens. So what you're seeing in the window is through the camera lens. Bob is our alien, and Angel, she's awesome. She is in our scene as well. And then the temple in the back. So now we're going to try and control the different things in the scene. Alright, so we're going to start with Bob. Since Bob is already selected, we're going to have him turn towards Angel. So we're going to have him turn towards Angel and say hello. Sure. Alright, so we're going to go down this list here through the procedures, and you'll see there's different things. Orientation, position. You'll see one that says turn. So we're going to take that one and drag that into that little section that says do in order. And so when we talk about left and right, it is their left, not yours. Alright, so we want him to turn right 0.25, which is a quarter, which is 90 degrees. So that he'll be facing Angel. Alright, and we can test this by pressing the run button. So let's press the run button and see what happens. There you go. So he turns towards Angel. Now we want Angel to turn towards the alien. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the little down button. We're going to go to Angel, and we're going to go and turn her to the left 0.25, which is 90 degrees. And let's test that out by pressing the run button. Now you'll notice that the alien turns first and then the Angel turns second. That's because we're doing this in order. It says do in order, so Bob goes first and then Angel goes second. So you want to think about those things when you're creating your story. What do you want to happen first? What do you want to happen second? And that happens with any programming language. You want to think about what are you doing first and what are you doing second. Alright, so now we're going to have them say something. So I'm going to have the alien say something. So we're going to go back to Bob, press the down button like I did here, and press Bob. And we're going to have him say, well, we're going to have him think something, because he's going to talk to her telekinetically, right? We'll have him say hello, and we'll test this out. Now, I generally test every time I put something new in there just to see if it works. If you start putting a whole bunch of things down and then testing it and something goes wrong, then it's hard for you to tell where you did something wrong. So I try to test it every single time I add something, but you can do it however you feel is comfortable for you. So I'm going to run this. It says hello, and then Angel should say hello. So we're going to click the little X button here, we'll click the down button, and then go to Angel, and she is going to say hey, how are you? Okay, and we're going to click OK, and we're going to run this to see what happens. Perfect. All right, so in this particular scene, it was just a simple scene of the alien and Angel saying hello to each other, but you can actually add a whole bunch of cool things on there. You'll see in the procedures that they do a lot of different things besides just turn and say hello. They can move, they can turn to face, they can turn upright, they can change size, you know, they can change appearance, they can even actually disappear, which would be kind of cool. So what if the alien said goodbye and then disappeared? So let's do that. You see, so what we'll do is we'll say that the alien, let's go back to the alien, that's cool. All right, so you can have the alien say or think, right? He's going to think, got to go, bye. All right, so he's going to say, gotta go by, not 1 exclamation points. There you go. All right, so we're going to do that, and then let's see if we can make them disappear. All right, so that would be appearance and set opacity. So opacity has to do with, like, you know, how much you can see them or not. So I'm going to set the opacity to 0. I'm assuming that 1 is you can see it, and then opacity is 0. So let's try it out, see if it works. All right, so we're going to run the program. Press run. Alien says hello. Angel says, how are you? It says, gotta go, bye, and disappears. It's cool. All right. So if you want to save your work, all you have to do is go to File. Let me go to Save. And then it's going to save it into My Projects. Feel free to save it wherever you want to. I'm going to call it Angel and the Alien. All right, I'm going to save that. And that is my story. It is pretty crappy. I think you guys can do a lot better than that. So why don't you guys create your own story with what you've done so far. And we're going to stop right here. In the next lesson, we're going to learn about how to control the actors a little bit more. See if we can do more cool things with them. All right, so at this time, we're going to just say keep steaming. This is D Engineer with the Steam Squad. Y'all have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.